Mr. Strykowski, would you introduce the woman on your left, please?
This is my ex-girlfriend and present wife, my life partner, Esther Schefter, Strykowski. We are married almost 51 years. We have 2 children and 5 grandchildren.
Mrs. Strykowski, how do you feel about your husband having given testimony about his experience during the war?
I think it's necessary for our future generations, for our children and grandchildren, and what's happening around. I think it's very necessary.
And you yourself are a survivor.
Yes.
And as a survivor, how did this affect you being a mother and bringing children into a free world?
We had a very normal life, just I was always scared. And because I didn't have any parents and no sisters and brothers, the kids were always the most important thing, my husband and them, and I was always afraid what might happen.
And were your children, did you speak freely of your experiences in the
Yes,
war to your children?
always. We had no problem. It's the opposite, they wanted to know. My children always were eager to know, to ask. They want to go with us to Europe, to Poland.
So they know that this was part of their
Yes.
legacy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Strykowski, for being with us.
Thank you.
Could you please tell us who is in this picture?
Those are my parents. My mother, Helen, in Hebrew, Chaya, and my father, Joshua. This is taken in a park in our town, Krasnowice.
Would you know when it was taken?
It's in the late 30s, 36, 37. My mother perished in Chelmno, and my father survived the war and he died in Montreal
When did he die?
in 1967.
Thank you.
This picture was taken in 1936, and it's my little sister, Natalie, Nadia, and my younger brother, Heniek, and myself when I was about 12 years old in Krasnowice, Poland.
And what happened?
My sister and brother perished in Chelmno in 1942.
Thank you. Who is in this picture, please?
This picture was taken in 1937, and this is my father's only sister, which perished in Chelmno in 1942.
What was her name?
Hanna Miłosierny.
I'm sorry, her second name?
Miłosierny.
And who was in the picture with her?
That's her oldest son, which survived. He lives now in New York.
And his name is?
His name is Felix Miłosierny.
Who is this picture of?
This picture is of my older sister, Rebecca, and it was taken in the late 30s, and she perished in Chelmno in 1942.
And was she married?
She was married, and she had a child which was thrown from the balcony to a truck when they were evacuated.
And her married name was?
Danziger.
Thank you. Could you tell us who is in this picture, please?
In this picture is my auntie and uncle from Paris with their 2 children.
How is this your aunt?
This is my mother's sister, which lived in Paris. She was rounded up in 1943 and taken to Treblinka and exterminated. My uncle survived the war. He passed away about 5 years ago
And
in Paris.
what happened to the children?
They perished in Treblinka too,
With the
her,
mother.
yeah.
And when was this picture taken?
In the early 30s
In Paris.
in Paris, yeah.
Could you tell us about this picture, please?
This picture was taken in 1945 in Belgium at the day of my wedding, and
Could you repeat your wife's name for us?
and my wife's name is Esther Schaffner from home, and we are married almost 51 years.
Thank you. Tell us about this picture.
This picture was taken in 1966. It's my father, Joshua.
Where was it taken?
It was taken in Los Angeles in 1966. He survived the war, survived Auschwitz, and he passed away in Montreal in 1967.
Thank you. Could you tell us about this?
This picture I took in Yad Vashem
In what year?
in 1980, and this is a picture of a monument which is in Yad Vashem, of a monument of the fallen martyrs from my town, Krasnivitz.
Thank you. Could you tell us about this picture?
This picture was taken in 1950, and it's of myself in a monument which we put up in Kiryat Shaul, Israel, in memory of the fallen martyrs of our town, Krasnivitz.
Did you go back to Krasnivitz?
I went back 3 times, twice to show my children and grandchildren the roots and what was and what happened to it, and also to go to Chelmno to say Kaddish on the mass grave of the martyrs of Krasnivitz and the vicinity.
Thank you. Tell us about this picture.
This picture was taken in 1974, and it's a monument and also a direction pointer in the direction of Chelmno, the extermination grounds where my mother, sister, and brother were exterminated, and all the Jews from the vicinity. I am in the picture, and also one of my friends from Krasnivitz.
Thank you. Okay, please.
This picture was taken in Florida on our 50th wedding anniversary, and it's on the right is my son and his wife, and my daughter and her husband.
And their names are?
It's Jacob, my son, Sonia, his wife, Helen, my daughter, and Moti, her husband.
Thank you. Could you please explain who's in this picture and when it was taken?
This picture was taken in Florida, also on the occasion of our 50th wedding anniversary.
Which was which year?
In 1995, and on the left, myself and my wife, and my sister-in-law, my brother in the background, my 5 grandchildren, Eric, the smallest, and his 2 brothers, Joshua and Daniel, and then is my granddaughter, Natalie, and Todd, my son, my daughter, her husband, and my son's wife is in the background, in the back.
Thank you very much. Would you tell us what is in this picture?
This picture is an aerial picture of a cemetery which was erected by the Germans on the order of the American liberators, and here lie 1,006 innocent prisoners, I would say, from all nationalities, which were burned alive in a barn on the outskirts of Gardelegen. I and my brother, if they would have catched us, we supposed to be in this cemetery. And luckily we escaped. And this happened a day before the liberation.
And who are the people?
On the bottom there are 5 people, survivors, which came to visit the graves. They come occasionally to pay respect to the fallen.
Thank you.